Hello, everybody. It is the time for some Tetris 99. Hey, Fastra, welcome in. I'm gonna be doing a bit of Tetris today. Nothing crazy. How are you doing? What were you up to? Holy moly! Sorry about that. That jump scare. Fire icon. I got a new one. What did I do? What is that? What was that one? Oh, there it is. Send garbage 1,000 times while targeting KOs. Badges is next. That one's always tough because they're really the people with badges send you a ton of garbage. Raphael gave me a stummy massage. A rare moment where he's actually carrying in the game. I don't think I've ever heard you say stummy, but that's nice. He was like, "Oh, I guess you need a stummy massage." And then he gave you one. Badges. I need to get the badges badge. What's this one? This one's kind of a weird song. You know what I'm saying? Dang, I haven't played this in a while, but it just feels like I just can just get right back into it like at any time. Pew, 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 pew. I wonder how many of these are real people playing right now, and how many is bots. Oh, well, that wasn't a very good move on my part. I fixed it though. Uh-oh, I don't know where to put this. Was that a good spot just then, or was that not a good spot? I gotta clear this. I gotta get that hole open. There we go. Now we're in the clear. Now I can send down garbage. Pew, pew, pew. I don't hear the in-game audio. I muted it because I don't know if you can. I don't think you can turn off the music in Tetris. So we would just be hearing the Tetris song over and over. Like it would be like this. And it's just like, it's just that song. Uh-oh. I think I died. No! Oh, no. Wait, am I gonna die if I place this? Hey, Stickmon, welcome. I got 73rd. That's awful. I did so poor. I love Yue from Cardcaptor Sakura. I wish he was real. what do you love about Yue from Cardcaptor Sakura? Is that the one who she's told, Hayek? I didn't know I was going to do that poorly. Can you hear the music? Because, like, it looks like it's really quiet on my end. Like, it's only going to, like, negative 40 decibels. Hydrate time. Thank you. Badges. I want to get the thing for targeting badges, even if it means a ton of garbage sent my way. I'm prepared to make that sacrifice. I feel like I could have saved that previous run if I had played it a little bit differently. Ah! See, it's this mode is brutal. They try to kill you instantly. Why did I do that? That wasn't very smart. Or was it? Beep. I can fix this. It's like Rumi with the Honman. I can still fix this. Yay, I fixed it. Can't hear any music? That's odd. I have no idea why it's doing that. I've played music through YouTube before and it works. But now it says it's super quiet, like almost inaudible. So I'll look into it after this match. I have no idea why it's doing that. So it's just my voice talking right now. No music or nothing, just my good old voice. I'm playing some song, but I guess it doesn't want to be heard. Then some hunters sang some songs. I'm doing pretty good. Better than last time. He is really cool and has very nice long hair. Ah. And has nice wings and can fly. Oh. That is pretty cool. Oh no. Uh-oh. Please help me. Ah! And can fly and has a cool weapon and has a very nice voice. The voice of Hanako-kun. I see. I see. Name one cool thing he's done. Oh, wait, the music, yeah. Let me see what's up with that. Throlin. Hey, welcome in. I think a lot of us wish anime characters were real. For me, Zoe Hange would be one of them. Is it Hange? Hange? Hangi? Hange? I don't know who that is, but I'll look it up. And then okay. Zoe Hange. Oh, is that the Attack on Titan one? Hanji. Oh, I was wrong. I thought it was Hange. She's from Attack on Titan. No, don't look it up. Spoilers. I saw a person. What is that? What are you talking about? I just saw like a girl with glasses, and she looks like serious. And then that's all I saw. I don't know what you're talking about. Ah! Ah! My one chance to be a big shot. Now I messed it up. Ah, jeez Louise. I'm gonna start raging at this game if I lose. I'm gonna turn into a rager. I'm gonna get so rage-induced. I'm gonna get so angry like you've never seen me. So I hope I hope I don't lose. Or else the rage is gonna be insurmountable. Oh no. Ugh. Slow down with the garbage you keep sending me. No, wait. Wait. Wait, I think I'm dead. Ah! I'm raging. Ah! Don't worry about it. Don't look up anything about... Okay, I'll close out the tab. Okay, I didn't see anything. I just saw pictures of an Attack on Titan character. She's very epic and voiced by my teenage self's husband, Edward Elric. Why do you wish she was real, Thrillin? And Fastra, you said, did you say a cool moment? Name one cool thing that Yue has done. From Cardcaptor Sakura. And then what was I gonna... Oh yeah, why can't you guys hear the music? It's playing. Yeah, you can't hear it. Oh, it's going. Oh, hey, Aru. Hey, I'm at a restaurant, Hard Rock Cafe. Hey, if you can hear me. Sorry, I had to mute myself. Hi, that's cool. Is it the one that you took a picture of in front of? With a seal? If so, that's pretty cool. What are you gonna get from a Hard Rock? I'm just doing some chill Tetris over here. You know how it is. Oops. Badges. And you just missed a big rage moment. I raged so hard at this game. I was like, ah! If you can't hear me, then I'll wave. Hopefully he saw that. Unless you have headphones, in which case you could probably hear me. Also, I'm having technical difficulties because I'm playing music right now that's supposed to be for the stream, but it's like I'm looking at the levels and it's going only to like -50 for some reason, and the stream can't hear the music. It's so weird. I don't know what's going on. All right, let's see. Let's see, I missed some chats. Yes, hello. Hold on. Let me get this. Let me get this a little lower. Okay, there we go. The energy that she has matches mine. Oh, okay, okay. That so you'd want her to be real, and then you could probably get along pretty well. I'm seeing what you are saying. Let me uncover this hole and then finish catching up. Come on, I can do it. I can do it. This is me. This is me. So close. There we go. Man, I wish you guys could hear this music. It's really good. This particular song is like beautiful. I don't even know what it is. But it sounds really nice. Aw, jeez Louise. Where do I even put this? And this. Aw, jeez. Let's lower this. It sounds like Kingdom Hearts or something. Oh, geez. Someone's targeting me now. And they want me dead. Sorry, Charlie. It ain't gonna happen. I'm never going to die. No matter how much you keep sending garbage after me. I died. Hey, Fastra, have you built better decks yet? Oh! Aru came in swinging. That is a good question, Fastra. Have you built better decks? Also, hey, Throwin. I didn't officially say hello. Oh, nice. I got a New York strip steak on the strip. Oh, that's cool. Can you send me a picture? And did you bring Seal with you? Ooh, Fascia said, no, I didn't, Aru. I can hear you. Okay, oh, you can hear me. Okay, that's good. I just realized I didn't even check to see whether you could. But that's good. So, yeah, you you just came in swinging on Fascia. I hope you enjoyed your steak and New York strip on the strip. That's just so cool. Hold on, let me back out. I want to finish reading. Yeah, I'm glad you can hear me, but I don't know why you can't hear the music. It's so bizarre. It's never been that low before. Stickmom says I can hear his voice but not the music. Exactly. That's what I figured. Because it says it's at negative 40 decibels right now. And I don't really know why. Maybe if I... No, that didn't do anything. That didn't do anything either. Okay. A cool moment of Yue is when he saw Sakura was in trouble from falling debris, so he quickly flew in and saved her. Nice. That does sound pretty cool, those kind of moments when you save someone. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I brought her. Hey, I'll send pics when I'm in the hotel. Sure. Aru said, I can hear it. I'm built different. See, I'm not crazy. There is music. It's just so quiet for some reason. Why is it so quiet? Not understand. Not understand. How about now? I can't hear it, pal. What was that? The previous song was from Xenoblade Chronicles. I don't understand why it's so quiet. I don't know what's going on, y'all. I put the gain way up to 20 decibels, and now it says the desktop audio is like at a good level. I can hear it. It's the battle bus is coming. Yes. Let's go. You know me. You know me, Aru. I still have that one cursed memory with Fortnite. What was it? Like, I forgot what Fortnite thing it was, but it was some sort of Fortnite thing, and it was like we're playing in my head and I couldn't get it out. Well, let me check on my phone real quick if you can hear the... Oh. Dang. Oh. It was that. The battle bus is coming. Oh, that's it. Unless... Oh, dang it. I guess I'll just do this then. You should be able to hear that, right? Okay, yes, you can definitely hear that music if I unmute it. Ah! What happened? Where'd my OBS go? What just happened? There it is. It went to the other monitor. It's a little loud. Okay, I turned it down. That should help. Yeah, I don't know why you can't hear the other music. It's so much nicer than da 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 da. Nice music. I can hear music. Yes, I'm glad. Uh-oh, that was a mistake. There we go. did it again. Ah! Dagnabbit! Is it still loud, Faster? I tried to turn it down some. My coworker and I just won 2 Warzone games just for you, Christmas Bob. Thank you for dedicating the win to me, Throwlin. That's awesome. What like format is Warzone? Is it like 5v5? Is it like is it like 2v2? What kind of thing is it? I can't say I'm familiar. Is your left button broken or something? What do you mean? Oh, you mean because of I stacked those 2 on top of each other? Yes, let's go with that. That is broken. That's why. It's not like I was misinputting twice. I was getting too careless with my inputs. And I thought I had the timing down, but I messed it up twice in a row. No, square. I didn't want that square. Uh-oh. Someone saw me in a vulnerable state. Alright, I'm surviving for now. No, no! I know I had a move lined up. Gosh, dang it. A Throwlin regime shout out time. Fashion regime shout out time for Throwlin and his coworker. Yo, shout out Throwlin and coworker for the... Sorry, my eye is itching. Ooh. Yeah. Shout out to Throwlin and his coworker for those 2 dubs that they dedicated to me. They are cool, good at games, good at video games, and you should want to play games with them because they're pretty cool. It's Battle Royale. 40+ players in game. Respawn is available for the first 3 to 4 zones until it's disabled. You got greedy? No! You weren't supposed to see that. I could have totally kept going if I... If I hadn't. What do you mean by the first 3 to 4 zones? What are these zones you speak of? I just heard a Discord sound. I wonder if that was... Oh, it was. Am I singing in sync with the song when I sing? Like... Da, 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 da. I might be out of sync, but if so, it's okay. It doesn't need to be in perfect sync. I just sometimes might do like, oh no! And then it'll like take a second before you see what I reacted to. I stop it, it. Royale with cheese. I need myself a Royale with cheese. Ah, snap. Oh, snap. Aru says, all right, just finished my old fashioned. What is that? Old fashioned what? So I'm probably gonna pay and go back to hotel for now. It's a long walk, so I'll see you in a bit. Alrighty, you do that. Hope you have a safe walk. Sitcom says me. Oh yeah, the Discord. It was you. Kind of like in Fortnite, how the circle closes and gets smaller every 2 to 3 minutes. Ah, okay. So for the first 3 to 4 zones, you can respawn and then it's disabled. Interesting. I see. I see. No. Stop it. I shan't let you do this. Ah, why did I switch? I had a better one before. There we go. Oh, I'm on random. Oops, I wanted to be on... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, snap. Okay. Just straight up dead. Let's see if I've made any progress on that achievement. Which all it does is just make it so that I have a little icon. Not even worth it. 862. Okay, that's better than nothing. Alright, let's keep going. Would you rather play Tetris for 24 hours straight or run for 3 hours straight, both with no breaks? Oh, that would sound so hard. I guess it'd be Tetris. It would just be, I would just be going absolutely insane by the end of it, but I think the running would just be too much and it would take too much out of me. And I might like faint. like collapse. But for Tetris, even though it's way longer, I feel like I, could. I'll just be like my hands would cramp, but at least I wouldn't pass out. Holy mackerel. Whew, I think I could run for 3 hours straight if there's a mocha frappuccino from McDonald's at the finish line. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I could go for a McDonald's mocha frappuccino in the morning. Or like afternoon. That sounds pretty good. Sorry, y'all. I got an important text. I'm just gonna let this one. Yeah. Alright, let's see if I can save this. I saved it. But for how much longer can I survive? That is the question. Dang it. What if there was a prize of $100,000 for the running, but only a $1,000 prize for Tetris? Well, that's already better than a mocha frappuccino, so we know that Throlin would be able to do it because he could buy so many mocha frappuccinos with $100,000. Yeah, I'd try for the running. Because $100,000, that would be very nice. I'd try it. But hopefully it could cover my medical bills from when I collapse on the street from exhaustion. One more second. Oops. Alright. Message sent. No! My left button's broken, Aru. There's like some unfounded study that I saw somewhere that said like that playing Tetris after like a sad event or like something bad happening can help like your brain process it or something. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. Ah! That was not a very nice text message to receive. Oh no! Stop it! If my math is correct, I could get 21,321 Frappuccinos. Holy moly. Is it worth it? You just gotta run for 3 hours, which is a superhuman ability. But then you'd be able to get 21,000 Frappuccinos, so that sounds kind of, yeah, 100% worth it. Go. Was the sad text from McDonald's saying you won't get 21,321 Frappuccinos since Throlin won them first? Yes, that was it. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. I almost misinputted that, but then my brain caught it. Uh-oh. Oh. Bruh. Uh-huh. What? Ugh. It's flat. Drink water. I have water too. I'm out of water now. That's not good. I almost misinputted that. My brain stopped my finger. And it was like, wait, you didn't press the button enough. That was a misinput. That was a mistake! Stop! I'm finished. I beg your pardon. That was rather rude. That was rather not fair. Stretching time. I'll look away from the screen too, so my eyes get a little break. Hey! I was just getting started. Come on. Don't do that. That's no fair. That's no fair. Go. Okay, I almost got an all clear. There's only 2 little blockies left. 2 little baby tiny blocks. Small, small blocks. Uh-oh. Oh, never mind. We good. Do you think a monkey could be trained to play Tetris? Yeah. I wouldn't put it past monkeys to be able to do that. That'd be kind of cool. I believe monkeys, they could do that. They're smart. And then whenever they break a row, it gives them bananas. Cause it's like just visual, like you just look at the blocks and you just make them like fit in shapes, which is like, you know, something that a monkey could do, because like you just need to like look at shapes to fit in like the banana into their mouth or something. I'd love to see a monkey playing Tetris. Yeah, me too. I wonder what how fast it would go. Probably never, not as fast as a human, but like it'd probably go like this, like like that. Oh, I got a bunch of badges from that KO. Cool. I got another kill. That was a good run, though. All the way to, I think I got 5th. Yeah, 5th. Cool. Which character from SpongeBob would be the best at Tetris? Maybe Sandy? Because, like, she'd be like, oh, you just gotta stack up the blocks like this. And it'd be, like, easy for her. I lost track of how many games we won, but all of them are dedicated to everyone here. That's awesome. Whee! I would say Sandy or Plankton would be good at Tetris. Ah. Yeah. That would be funny to see Plankton playing it. Karen, not now. I'm trying to get top 10. That doesn't sound like Plankton. Oops. Yeah, I agree. Sandy's pretty smart, and Plankton has Karen, so he's used to technology things. Stacy Joanne, welcome. Thank you for the lurk. Howdy. Thank you. How are you? I'm all right. Thanks for asking. How are you doing? I'm just been playing some Tetris. I haven't gotten a dub yet, but I got close. I got 5th place. And when, you know, there's 99 people, 5th place is pretty good. Ah, dang nabbit. I'm okay, thank you. Yeah, of course. I might, oh, I ranked up. I'm 81 now. That's cool. Did you have a haircut? Yes, I did. Thank you for noticing. It was just this past Monday. I had a haircut. And it feels nice. My hair was a little long before. Now it is shorter. I don't even know what I was just looking at. I was just kind of like looking at them. Oh, the missions reset at midnight, so hey. There we go. New missions are daily at 12 a.m. Imagine, I bet you there's someone who like does these every day. They always look at their daily missions. Hey Bob, you should ask Stacy a trivia question and see if they can get it correct. What kind of trivia question? Like, just trivia about anything? Nice, thank you. Which Super Smash Bros. Game it was known for its lengthy single play, well, it was single player, but you could also play with 2 people. campaign story mode that had all these animated cutscenes and involves all these different characters and them turning into trophies. Pass? No, you don't know Smash Bros? Aw, dang it. Alright, let me try another one. Something about something different. What year did The Little Mermaid come out? The animated one. The old animated one, not the new one. I don't, I'm sorry. It's okay. I like that. The answer was Super Smash Bros. Brawl. It had the story mode called the Subspace Emissary, and it had all these cutscenes in it. And the later games had some cutscenes, but none like as involved as Brawl. So that would be the answer to that one. And I asked about The Little Mermaid because me and Faster watched it recently. In preparation for a Twisted Wonderland event. Oh, story, not event. It's just a regular story. Dang it! Ooh, I'm gonna guess 93. Not correct, but it could be like way earlier than that. It is a bit earlier. Let me double check my answer. Yep, it's a little bit earlier. 1989 is when the animated one came out. So you were close, only 4 years off. 89, 93, kind of close. Not bad, not bad. I'll remember that now. Hope it comes up in my next pub quiz. Yes, and you'll know it. You'll know exactly the year it came out. That'll be awesome. It was a good movie. Animation was pretty good. And the music. And there was no Escatobot. There's no that. That song was not in it. So that's a plus. No! Oh no. That was a misinput. No! I lost because of it. Ah, dag nabbit. What are a couple of your interests so we could tailor a question for you? Ah. But it would have to be one that an interest that I have too, so I could come up with something that I just know off the top of my head. No, I can't answer that, because then if you ask the question and I don't know the answer, I'm going to look like a fake fan. That's a good point. I'd ask you about something and then you could get exposed for not knowing about it. Alright. Let me think of one. A kind of general knowledge question. And I want it to be one that I know, because I had to look up the Little Mermaid one even though we just watched it. This is not good. This is not going well at all.
Oh, Fastra, thanks for the gift sub to Stacy Joanne. Thank you. I appreciate the gift sub. You are epic. Dang it. Fash said makes sense. And then Throlin said, we got a poser in here. Oh, poser alert. How about where did the 2012 Olympic Games take place? And Stacey Joanne said, I want to say London. And I guess that was correct. So then Stacey Joanne did, that's so cute, thank you. Does that mean I got it right? Oh, that's why you're asking for me to do a quiz. I understand. Yes, good job, yay. So I got 36, that's not bad. As a Brit, I'm glad I got that right. Oh, that's a little fun fact. Nice lore drop. I've lived in England for 4 years, so I can kind of do the accent. I know it's not very, probably some people could easily tell that it's just me doing an accent, but I think it's a decent It's better than your average. Like, it's better than maybe like a random person who's never lived there. Because I heard it so much. Like, please mind the gap. Dropping the Stacy lore. Yup, just like that. Fasher dropped a sub, you dropped the lore. You did what for 4 years? I lived in England. Lived in England. We visited London and Scotland. Not Scotland Yard, but Scotland itself. And why did I put that one in hold? I had a good spot for it. How long have you lived in England? Or been a Brit? I was about to ask how long have you been one? Your whole life. Do you live there now? Wait, if you do, then it would be like 6 a.m. So maybe you don't. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, they're right. Tetris kind of helps. I mean, the thing's still there, but you know, it makes it like a little bit more bearable. It's like drinking, but instead of drinking, I'm playing Tetris. No! There, I fixed it. And that's it for little old me. Yeah, it's 6 a.m. Oh, you said, oh, nice. Why? I was just curious as to where you lived. I'm in the U.S. But yes, your whole life. It's 6 a.m. though. That's crazy. Did you stay up all night or did you wake up early? Fasher said, I could not tell you many other Olympic locations, but for some reason I remember 2012. I mainly think I remember it because of the Mario and Sonic at the 2012 Olympic Games. I remember there was the Beijing one, but I don't know if that was 2008 or something? I'm not sure either, but that sounds like a place where they would hold Olympics. And that's all I know. Oh, I meant why did you live in England? My dad was in the Air Force and he got stationed there. So we lived there on a military base. So I was still around a lot of other Americans who were just living there because their parents got stationed. So it was a bit of a unique experience. You know, it wasn't like I was we went off base a lot, so like I wasn't just around Americans, but you know, more Americans than would otherwise usually be encountered. Ah! Stayed up all night. I'm not at work at the moment, so my sleep schedule is all out of whack. Dang. That's sorry to hear that. I hate when a sleep schedule is not good. It can make you feel bad. Hopefully you can get your sleep better soon, Stacy. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool, and we would do sightseeing every so often. You know, go to some of the famous England landmarks, and like I said, Scotland for 1 year in spring break we went. And it was really cool. I liked living there, and I liked when it would snow because then that would mean school was canceled. Were you quite young? Yes, I was. Quite young. Eventually you'll fix your sleep? Is that what you mean? Yeah, I vary. Sometimes I have like really good sleep and like I get like a lot of sleep each night, but then sometimes I stay up really late and I mess it up and I feel bad. You know. I don't want to do this. I don't want to put this here. Where should I put this? Here. I almost put it in a really bad spot. I think that place I chose was a bit better. No, wait. Hehehehe. Whoa! I'm toast. Also, wait. Tasha said, I miss Kinder Eggs and Palm Bears. Both were fantastic, yes. Kinder Eggs with that nice little toy, and then Palm Bears with that delicious crisp. I still remember how they taste. Also, if I'm overstepping with any questions, feel free to tell me. I'm just interested, but don't want to impose too much. Okay. Yeah, I'll divulge as much as I'm comfortable. Appreciate it. And same thing for me. Actually, can't believe you guys aren't allowed Kinder Eggs. Yup. We found that out when we moved. It was right at the age where we loved getting Kinder Eggs. And then we went, and then, boop, gone. Yeah, of course, don't want to seem weird. Yeah, no worries. You definitely haven't seemed weird so far. Maybe you can change that. Get a little weird. It could be like Weirdmageddon from Gravity Falls, if you've seen that show. But hey, we're all weird down here. We're all mad here. I'm crazy. And I play Tetris so I don't go too crazy. I play Tetris so I can keep my sanity. It's working. For now. I can't guarantee it'll still be intact tomorrow. But if I get a dub, it will be. I want to get a dub on stream. I haven't gotten one yet. I got close. I wish I was making it to the top 10 more. I wonder if I was targeting attackers, which is usually the one I do, if I would be doing any better. I'm doing badges. I'm targeting badges. Is basically like when you kill people, you get badges, and the more badges you have, the more garbage you send. And garbage is this stuff on the side. That's garbage, and you can see it at the bottom there. The non-colored tiles, the ones that aren't happy and colorful. It's called garbage. And the more KO badges you have, which I have zero KOs, so 0% up. The more KO badges you have, then the more garbage you send, so the stronger you are. So, you know, like when you see a bunch appear on the left side at once, that's from someone who has a lot of KO badges. And it's because I'm targeting them right now. Whoop! But when you target attackers, you just target anyone who happens to be targeting you, which doesn't necessarily mean someone with a ton of badges. But when you target badges, you're only targeting people who have, yep, there it is. See that line on the left? That means it's Tetris time! I'm dead. I'm definitely super cool and chill and not at all weird. Of course. I have pretty good memories of England. Me too. I'm glad we lived there. Are you from there, Fashion? Or did you live there / visit? Here's a little lore drop for you. That is my sister. So we were both living there together as children. Yes, young wee lads. We indeed lived there together. Let's try attackers. Maybe I can get a dub. Because I'm reaching the end of my Tetris limits. Which, if I had to do it for 24 hours, holy moly. This is a nice, chill game, though. Pew! Boom! Pew! Boom! Boom! 5 big booms! Boom! 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 Boom. Tetris. I get the Tetris. I do the mini T-spin. Ha ha ha. A T-spin is when you like take the T-shaped piece, which is this one. That one. It's upside down right now, but it's shaped like a T. And you maneuver it in such a way that it turns. That's the best way I can describe it. Uh-oh. Someone with a lot of KO badges is trying to kill me. I won't let him. I won't lie. I just let him. Dang it. I was even targeting attackers that time, so I don't have an excuse. Stacey said, oh, cute. But Fasher said, yup, we don't live together anymore, though. Yeah. We're kind of far from each other. Very far. Oh, that's sad. Yeah. Who's older? Yep. Fasher said it. Me. Her. She is. What about 5 big beeps? Oh, if I did that, then Fasher would... She would leave the stream. She would just close it immediately. Before I even got to the second one. Throlling giving me wartime flashbacks. No, she's going insane. Maybe you need to play some Tetris. Maybe that will help you process your traumatic event. But yeah, we grew up together, and now she's gone. No more Fastra. Like the tweet I posted on Twitter, Fastra is gone. Bum 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 bum. Stop! Someone's already sending me stuff. I did that whole long-winded explanation about why I was getting so much garbage before, but I'm still getting just as much on this while targeting attackers. Hey. Dagnabbit. I want to uncover this hole. Ooh, I got 2 KOs. Oh, that was a mistake. Game over. It's funny to imagine that's what he's saying. He's saying KO, but it sounds... My dad used to think he was saying game over. Ah! That might be the death of me. Alright, I'm still alive for now. Misinputting left and right now. Bow, bow down, bow, bow down, bow. No! The misinputs killed me. Always fascia. Oh, posture check time. Ah, thank you. Are you still playing Warzone? Throwing? Let's hope I don't misinput this time. I had a couple misinputs and they added up and I started panicking and I died. That's not good. I misinputted that one. I'm very lucky. No, my core worker got off for the night, so now I'm playing World of Warcraft. I've heard of that one. It's a MMORPG, right? World of Warcraft, like where you go around and level up and stuff. Who's your favorite character in the Jungle Book besides the big bear who sings bare necessities? The simple bare necessities. How's it already 12:30? I've been playing for an hour and 40 minutes. That's crazy. I guess has to be Mowgli, or maybe the snake with cool eyes. I haven't seen it in a long time. If there's a Twisted Wonderland event based on the Jungle Book, then we have to watch it, and then I can give you a good answer. Or maybe it's the monkey who's like, oh yes, it's I want to be like you. I want to walk like you, talk like you too. Oh yes, it's true. That song is pretty good. Have you played Tetris? Has anyone in chat played this game before? Either Tetris 99 or just regular Tetris. It's pretty accessible. Like anyone can kind of pick it up and play. It's just matching blocks over and over, but it's fun. Except for right now because I'm dying. Ah, please. Yes, sir. It has its ups and downs since they're always changing something in the game, but still fun. Interesting. What kind of things do they change? Glad you have fun with the game though. Overall, King Louie. Is that your favorite character? Is that your favorite character from Jungle Book? King Louie? Is that the name of the guy who says, "I wanna walk like you, talk like you too"? Is that King Louie? Or do you mean Louie from Pikmin? Fasha, you played Tetris. A. Yes. That's King Louie? What? How do you know that? You deserve another gift sub for knowing the name of the monkey who sings I Wanna Be Like You song from Jungle Story. My favorite character in Jungle Story is Mowgli. I wanna walk like you, talk like you too. Yes, see, it's true. Be like me. I wanna walk like me, talk like you too. It's a good song. So is like I said, The Little Mermaid had some good songs in it. I like the part when her dad said, "There's still one more thing. How much I'm gonna miss her." And then he turned her into a human, right? Is that what he did? Ah! Fasha says that there's a sequel to The Little Mermaid where like the daughter wants to become a mermaid or something. I don't know how true that is though. I have a new appointment. I have an appointment with a new therapist this Saturday, so we'll see how that goes. I hope I like him. Seems qualified, and we'll see how that goes. If I start streaming more, then that might be why, because he helps motivate me to stream more. Oh no. Come on. This is me, this is me. I want to get a dub on stream. Come on. Doesn't it? You guys want to see a dub, don't ya? Don't ya? I know you do. Boom. This could be it. This is the place. These truffula trees have just what I need. I'm gonna chop one down and make my sneeze. I see a long message over there in the chat box. Who was that? Throlin. It's Throlin. I'll read it in a second. Game over. Why doesn't he just say over? It's just easy. You just say over. Game over. But he said game over. Why does he say that? Come on. Stop saying game over. Just say game over. It's just one extra syllable. It doesn't sound cool. That felt weird. My heart felt weird. Uh-oh, let's fix this quick before someone notices. I fixed it before someone noticed. Uh-oh. Now they're sending... Ah! Ah! Holy mackerel. Alright. Stacy said, yes, the big orangutan. We love King Louie. What? Now I gotta watch Jungle Story. King Louie. That's a cool name for the big orangutan. He wants to be like you. I wanna be like me. Shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba. I wanna walk like you. Talk like you. Oh, see, it's true. Yeah, we love King Louie. We do. I had no idea that was his name. You're kind of awesome for knowing that. And Throlin says the storyline, certain classes with their spells and abilities, plus nerfing a lot of stuff in the game. The game itself, since they'll make a new expansion pack every so often, which will change the layout of the game. Adding or removing items from the game that are either still obtainable or have to spend in-game currency to get. I've been playing it since 2007, so I've seen the whole game change a lot, but they have two separate versions of it. Retail, which is current base game, and Classic, which is the older expansions. Bash is right, almost 20 years. You are a devoted player. I trust your input about the game, because if you've been playing that long, you definitely know your stuff. So yeah, sounds like they change a lot. Nerfing stuff. Change the layout of the game, adding or removing game items. Or spend in-game currency to get them. Holy mackerel, that's a lot. I guess one of the only games I've played for that long is Smash Bros. If you count like new games as, you know, still the same series, because it's the same formula. New Smash games, they played pretty differently though, but there's games in a Smash Bros. Series I have played since, I don't even know, early 2000s? Mid 2000s? I guess once the new Kirby Air Ride comes out, I can say that I have. That's another game I played as a child. Luigi's Mansion. I haven't played the new ones, 2 or 3, and the fact that they got 2 on the Switch now makes me really want to go in and play it. I got 3 though. Imagine if instead of it being Luigi's Mansion, it was King Louie's Mansion. And he's like, I wanna suck up all the ghosts. I'm gonna use this here on my back now. You see, it's true. I just caught a boo. I'm gonna catch them all with this small vacuum pack. King Louie Supremacy. I want to watch that movie. I don't know what his role is in it. I don't know, like, why he sings that song, to whom, when, where. I don't know anything. I want to read Jungle Book. I just realized that it's a movie called a book. How many movies are there that are called books? It's called The Jungle Book. But it's a movie. It should be called The Jungle Movie. Why wasn't it called Jungle Movie? That doesn't make any sense. I just accepted that it was called The Jungle Book. It's not a book. It's a story. They should have either called it Jungle Movie or Jungle Story. I stand by that. Oh, you trying to send me garbage? There you go. Yes. Game over. I kind of like how he says game over, actually. I'm starting to like it. Oh, such pleasant little sounds that this game makes when I do good. It's like, boing. Did you guys hear about the shipment of Garfield phones that got lost at sea in France, and then since then a ton of Garfield phones have been washing up on the beach in France? It's crazy. The Book of Life? Oh yeah, it should be called the Movie of Life. Ah! Stop! But they're still finding washed up Garfield phones. Are still coming in all the time on the beach in France. It's insane. Press 1 if you would take one of the Garfield phones from the beaches of France to use for your own personal use. Press 2 if you would keep the Garfield phone as a keepsake. And press 3 if you would leave the Garfield phone on the beach for someone else to collect. Press 4 if you need me to repeat the options. Press 5 if you don't know, but you're here and you like Garfield. Press 6 if you were the one who caused the storage crate full of Garfield phones to crash in the sea. And press 7 if you've ever met Garfield in real life. I don't even remember what all the numbers are anymore. But that's crazy, like, Garfield phones keep washing up on the beach in France. Why do they keep coming? When will they stop? How many Garfield phones do you think were on that ship anyways? Ah! I don't know what to do with this. Get over there. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. Some people think that it was done on purpose to raise as like a publicity stunt for Garfield. To make Garfield more popular. I don't know. I don't know if it was or not. Because that's a lot to do. Just to promote Garfield. How do I do this? What am I doing, man? This is like one of the worst builds I've had in years. Get over there. If I get a dub, then everyone has to gift me 10 subs each. Get over there! Sorry, I don't like to yell at my Tetris peaches, but I do it sometimes. Tetronimo! That's a little phrase I came up with. It means Geronimo, but for Tetris pieces. Come on! No! What am I doing? I could have won that if I didn't play so sus. Stacy says, I would be so down for that. So down for what? I forgot what I said. Wait. Fasher says he would have a fun time getting all the ghosts and make it a party. Wait, what did I say? Hold on. I said someone playing Luigi's Mansion. Oh, what happened? Hold on. Wait. Tetris, wait. I need to read chat. I remember talking about Luigi's Mansion. Who did I say? He would have a fun time getting all the ghosts and make it a party. Who would? The Book of Life. Yeah, I remember. I read that one. It should be called The Film of Life. What is your favorite Disney film? If you count Pixar, then WALL-E. But if you just mean Disney... Wreck-It Ralph. That's Disney, right? Yeah, it is. Wreck-It Ralph. It's really good. The first one. The second one is enjoyable, but not as good. The first one was just so good. Ooh, nice. Mine is Aristocats. I haven't seen that one. Or if I have, it's been a long time. I want... Oh, and I don't know if I read this yet, but Fasha said for me Encanto. Encanto's a really good choice. It's a really good movie. The soundtrack is great. Wow. I did worse than CPU 96. Dang, they fill this lobby with CPUs nowadays? I also really like Luca. That's a good one. Luca, beautiful music, nice fun story, sea monsters galore. What more could you ask for? Frozen, also a good one. Nice love story there with Kristoff and Anna. Tangled, I haven't seen that one in a bit. That one I'm a bit less familiar with that one. But I know the overall story. And a few of the classics. Oh, yes. Very nice. Throlin says, I may know my stuff about the game, but with knowing how to PvP, it becomes a problem. Oh. So you could be better at the PvP aspect of World of Warcraft, you mean? Oh, I love Tangled. Oh yeah, I forgot I was saying all the numbers. Press 1. What did 1 mean? Fasher said 2 and 6? What did the numbers mean? Oh, it was 6 the people who are at fault for the crash. Stacy said, gonna go get me a Garfield phone. Yeah, just go to the beach in France and you should find one. It shouldn't be too hard. I wonder what 2 was. I have to watch the replay of this VOD and see what numbers 2 and 6 were. I'm pretty sure 6 was the people who are responsible for it. Because Fasha said, yeah, it was a joint effort between me and Stacy. And we'll do it again! Me and Fasha are leaders of the Garfield fan club. You were trying to ship some Garfield phones to all the members of the Garfield fan club. That's a noble effort, I must say. Louis' Mansion? Is that what I said? Louis' Mansion. You mean like the monkey? Oh yeah! And then I sang the song like, I'll catch a boo, ba. I'm gonna catch a boo. Watch me and you too. I could not remember for the life of me who I was talking about. Louis' Mansion. Thank you, Stacy. Wreck-It Ralph. Holy beep! What a film! Sorry, are we allowed to swear in this stream? Yes. I usually don't, except for special occasions when it's especially warranted. But yes, I don't mind it in the chat at all. You're free to use any words. I just use them rarely. But yeah, I'm glad you see the vision with Wreck-It Ralph, because it's good. It's good. It's a great film. Now you can watch her die. It's like, oh my gosh. Ralph, I'm starting to get a little serious. You not remembering anything you talked about 5 minutes ago is so funny. No, I don't. No, don't expose me. I remember everything. What's fair? You said that's fair. What is? Oh, you mean this cursing thing? All right. Tasha said 1. Oh, if you take a phone and leave it. 2, take a phone and keep it as a collectible. 3, leave the phone at the beach. 4, repeat the options. 5, forgot. 6, if you're responsible. 7, if you've met Garfield. Wow, Fasher, that's pretty cool. I can't believe you remember all that. I need to like remember what I just said, so that reading chat makes sense. I think it's a skill that needs to be developed, because usually the chat is moving so slow that I can just read it. Like, I don't have to like catch up on earlier messages, you know? So I appreciate you guys being here and keeping me company on this Tetris night! Sorry about the rage. I died. Wreck-It Ralph is a masterpiece. Yes, it is! Ralph is the star of the show! Sorry, we'll stop talking. No, don't stop talking. I need you guys to talk, to give me something to talk about. Oh, 1 is take phone and use it, not leave it. Yeah, I figured that one sounded a little off in my head. So yeah, take the phone and use it, or take the phone and keep it as a collectible. And then you forgot number 5. 6 of yours. Thank you for typing that out, Pastra. I appreciate it. Wreck-It Ralph is a masterpiece. I'm good, and that's not bad. I will never be good, and that's not bad. That's not how it goes. But you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. Have some candy. If you can't tell, I like doing his voice. Ralph! It's the time me and you had a heart-to-heart about Vanellope. She can't enter the race. She'll die along with the game. She's the glitch. When I was little, though, when it first came out, when I watched it, I was disappointed in it because I wanted it to have more video games. I was like, it's a video game movie. It should have more, like, you know, it should have Mario and Sonic and Pikachu, and like I wanted it to be like that kind of movie. But then when I watched it when I was older, I was like, okay, like I mean, it has barely, you know, it doesn't have those big names. It has Sonic for a little bit, but that's it. Well, it has a lot of other classic arcade people, like, you know, Pac-Man, and Bowser makes a cameo and stuff like that. But overall, the focus is on Ralph and the gang, you know. Ralph, Vanellope, Fix-It Felix, Agent, what's her name? Sergeant Calhoun? That doesn't sound right all of a sudden. But yeah, her. It's, the rest of their arcade things are mostly cameos. But they usually don't play that significant of a role. And he like takes in homeless Q*bert and takes the cherries from Pac-Man. eats them. But yeah, Wreck-It Ralph is so good. It's a really good film. I was blind when I was younger. I was just like, man, that didn't have Mario in it. That was okay. I still liked it, I remember, but it didn't live up to my little kid expectations. But when I watched it recently, or when I got older, it's like, okay, this is a really good film. I like the scene when Ralph smashes the car. I think it's super, like, well acted from both actors. It's just such like it's such a powerful scene. It's one of my favorite scenes. Flying fish nuggets! Stacy added faster and said hero. You mean like she's a hero for saying all the number options 1 through 7? Yes, Fasher is a hero. Oh man, the guy who voices King Candy, I absolutely love him. I actually don't know who voices King Candy. Do you know the actor? Is that what you mean? Like, you like the voice actor who does him? If so, I can see why, because he's great. That is a very good impression. Thank you. I appreciate it. Have some candy. Ready Player One has a lot of video game cameos. I remember that one. I don't actually remember much of what it was about because I saw it once a long time ago. But I remember the Iron Giant was in it, so that's cool. I like seeing the Iron Giant in it. I like the part in Ready Player One when the Iron Giant is I swear I didn't see that chat. I just now saw that. Fasha said, I like the part when the Iron Giant is shown. Me too. It's so cool to see him in in that context. It was cool. Me and Fasha think alike. Bum, 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 bum. How old were you when it came out? Like 12. Doesn't, as if it came out in like 2012. WTF. It was that, right? It was 2012? It doesn't feel that old. Yeah, it's crazy to think about how long it's actually been. Like, Wreck-It Ralph, man. It feels like it was, I don't know, like 8 years ago? Something like that. What was it? Like, is it over 10 years old? It's still good though, it's still good, it still holds up. I like the Disney princess scene in Wreck-It Ralph too, when all of them came together to help Wreck-It Ralph. But it could have been better. It could have been a bit better. Ralph went viral. No! We had the same brain cell we did, Fastra. Alan Tudyk voices him. I didn't know that. He did Hey Hey too in Moana. What? The chicken. That's a chicken, right? What the heck? What the heck? That's a mind blow. And quite a few other Disney voices. Oh, that's cool. Granted, Hey Hey is literally just a rooster, but still, yeah, that's something. That's awesome. And oh, it is 1 a.m. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I gotta stop soon too. Maybe this can be my last one. It's so fun talking with you guys, though. I appreciate it again. Just appreciate y'all keeping me company on this Wednesday night. But Fasher said I should be heading out for the night. Have fun playing Sugar Rush. Oh yeah, you know it. Say hi to King Candy for me. Hello, Fastra. Thanks for stopping by. And sweet dreams. Bum 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 bum. Good night, Fartstra. Oops, I meant Fastra. Good catch there, Throlin. That could have been bad. Could have been some serious repercussions. I don't like how high up my build is right now. I want to get it lower. Press 1 if you... I'm just kidding. You've already pressed enough numbers. I wonder when's the last time someone found one of those Garfield phones on the French beach. No! That's not my last one. Alright, I'm doing an endurance challenge. I have to get to the top 10 before I can stop. Let's see how that goes. You better not call me that again! Or I will send 50,000 Iron Giants to your current location and they will steal your PC! PC. That's supposed to be the Iron Giant. It didn't sound like him. As in the Soul series. I'll just parry all of them. Haha. Bro got distracted thinking about Garfield phones and no. I'm just imagining like they keep happening. It keeps happening with the Garfield phones keep showing up on the beach. Okay, I can win this time though. Okay. Like I said, I can't stop until I get top 10 one more time. Since I'm targeting attackers instead of badges, this should be a walk in the park. I almost misinput. Those are gonna cost me. I gotta be careful about those. But I almost didn't stream. I was just kind of like, okay, I'll stream, and then it ended up being a fun time with everyone. I was just gonna, you know, exist. After this stream, I'm probably gonna eat an apple. That sounds so good right now. Oh, no, you don't. Aye. finally getting it down to a lower level. That took a while. That took a while. I gotta iron out these misinputs or I'm never gonna make top 10. King Louis's mansion. Come on, that would be a good game. Yay, I finally did it without misinputs. I might be safe. I might be getting to the top 10 this time, guys. Might be happening. I'm playing better. I'm playing better. No! Another misinput. Yeah, we're getting the real money makers here. This run, it's money. I'm gonna get top 10. Dag nabbit. 18th place. That's almost top 10, but not quite. Oh, good night, Stick Mom. Unless you're saying good night to Fastra. But if you're saying good night to me, then good night. That was so close. I was so close. I almost had it. I was so close to the top 10. It was within my grasp. It was within my grasp. Aru sent me an image. Aww. A grown man eats ice cream at 11 p.m. Oh boy, what flavor? Unlucky. I know. That's not how I wanted that to go. Alright. We try again. That's what we do here. We try again. For top 10. Oh, I got a KO. Nice. Top 50. Dagnabbit. 11. I got 11th. And I said I needed to make it to the top 10. I was so close. I was so close. Ow! No! This was not supposed to happen. Cookies and cream and strawberry cheesecake. In my books, that was top 5. Thank you, Throlin. I appreciate it. Now let's see if I can get top 5 for real. I cannot believe I was that 11th place. And I said I needed top 10. What can you do? Game over. Game over. That one wasn't a very good attempt. I'll admit that. Alright, I think it'll just be my last try flat out, because 1:30 a.m. is crazy. I'll try my best though. Oh, you're still alive. Awesome. Yeah, I'm still alive, Mr. Aru. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your ice cream. Just got to the hotel, as the kids say. I'll do one more for you, Aru. That was going to be my... I wanted to get top 10. I wanted to end with the top 10, but I keep getting 11th. I got 11th twice in a row, and that time I got pretty close, too. I just wanted to get top 10 one more time. Forever stream. It's looking like that, Stacy. It's looking like that. Alright, let's try this. Let's try this again. One last time. Tetris music is gonna be playing in your dreams. You're right. Bro is so locked in right now. I was Aru. Robbed, it's so over. I just want top 10. I've got 11th 3 times. 3 times. Just let me get a top 10. Let me get a top 10. Darn, 11th place again. You see, I have witnesses. I literally keep getting 11th place. How does this happen? This is BS, Stacy. Alright. I'll fix it though. Focus more on individual line than Tetris. Throws more garbage at enemies. Especially consecutive ones. Okay. Okay, I'll try that. Consecutive, like combos. Dang, I thought I had that one, man. Just a bad run. Just a bad run. I'm out for the night, y'all. Good stream and good gameplay. Thank you. Sad you couldn't see the top 10, but thanks for stopping by. GG's on those Warzone dubs also. Throw in. Nope. Not gonna end like that. Not gonna end like that. We run it back. We run it back. Gamblers crit right before they hit it big. Seal would know about that because she was gambling. That was insane. She was really out there gambling. She used all my money and sold the house. We lost it. Sorry that happened, Aru. If you need a place to stay, you can come crash here for a bit. Well, Seal thinks about what she did. Thinks about her actions. Three hours of Tetris? What? How has it been 3 hours? It's a fun game. It is. Oh, you're in the same time zone as me. What? You mean it's 1:52 for you as well? But yeah, it's a fun game. It's a fun Tetris game. With little flashy blocks and little sounds and stuff. I don't appreciate how I'm not getting top 10 or even close. But, yeah, no. Life goes on. Yeah, here in Vegas. What the heck? Dang, it's kind of late there in Vegas. You were out getting your ice cream kind of late. Beep. Beep. Oh. Good, because I was getting worried I wouldn't be awake for class. Wait. Oh, I just skipped a few. Wait, I'm stupid. My computer time is central. Ah, so it isn't the same time zone. I got you. It's midnight. Good, because I was getting worried I wouldn't be awake for class tomorrow. Oh snap! But it's actually midnight. Okay, that's good. That's good. Come on, buddy. I need you to lock in. I will. Just like you in class tomorrow morning. I was trying to do what you said, and then I made that misinput, and it sucked. Lock in as if you were on the finishing touch. Grand finals for Tetris 99. I did! I tried! But the only thing finished was me. Why is it so hard? Why can I not get in the top 10? What happened? Oh. Last one. I'll lock in. Last one, last one, last one. I'll take it. Still not top 10. But 14th is not too far off. Next time, hopefully I will get the top 10. Thank you guys for coming in. Thanks for stopping by. It's 2:06 now. That was fun. Thank you, Throlin and Stacy and Fastra and Aru for keeping me company. Good night. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. And if you ever find yourself desperately trying to get the number just to top 10 in one of these godforsaken Tetris battles, that you take care of them.